Hey, good morning, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. This morning, I'm doing a little bit different. As you guys see, I've got a electronic device today with a peripheral attached to it. This, of course, is my Surface Book. This is Microsoft's Premiere. I don't know if it's the Premiere. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just a bunch of crap. This is basically my drawing tablet. Here's my quick key dealio. Keeping it simple this morning. Today I'm working in Sketchbook Pro. I utilize this program primarily for my home sketches. Let me go ahead and adjust this. I don't think I've ever done anything professional. Maybe. I use it for a lot for concept, and the only environment that I use Sketchbook Pro in is the PC environment. I do have it on all my devices. However, the best environment, in my opinion, that really brings out the wonderfulness of what this program is the PC environment. So what I'm going to do is, I've got it currently in its current iteration. I've got it, if you guys see, I've got it folded around. This is the 13.3 inch configuration of this device. I'm looking for some type of... Sorry about this, guys. As you see, I wasn't totally prepared. Okay, here we go. I'll just use this. As I touch one thing in my studio, everything falls down. Okay, so I'm going to use a little hat to prop it up, just so I have a better angle. There we go. And we're just going to put this right here. I don't want it too high. Hopefully that's not too distracting for you guys. Okay, so Sketchbook Pro on the Surface Book. I don't know if you guys use electronic devices, but in my professional work, this is kind of my home. You know, I do a lot of digital illustration just because the business that I work in, toy design, you know, plush design, illustration really dictates that I utilize this type of medium. And what's really great is I purchased this XP pen. I haven't really done a review, sort of done a review. This is a programmable quick key device because I've got the device flipped around. You can detach the tablet portion from the keyboard portion. Here's the keyboard portion. I'll show you underneath. See, there's the keyboard portion. So you can basically detach it and attach it, which is really good. However, whenever you detach it, if you have the higher end version, which I do not, I've got the lower end version, the i5 processor version, you lose the video card, which really sucks. But you also lose the battery life. And if any of you guys know about these devices, especially in today's, you know, battery world, which we all have to be conscious of our battery world, it doesn't have a fantastic battery life. It's got a better battery life than, say, my ZBook, which has a terrible battery life. But that being said, just be conscious. You know, I'm conscious of the battery. I'm conscious of the fact that it's got a limited battery life. So I make sure to carry my charger with me. You know, we got to make sure and do stuff like that. Anyway, so this morning's drawing is literally just, you know, I'm just having fun, right? It was a very busy weekend. I had lots to do this weekend. You know, I wanted to get in and do some digital sculpting because I've got this huge project that I'm working on, but I wasn't really able to do that. Had a hot water heater go out over the weekend, so that was really the main focus yesterday. Pretty much all day was hot water heater, trying to figure that out, which is fine. You know, it's just part of being in a home, you know, maintenance issues. So yeah, Sketchbook Pro, what do I think about this program? I like this program on a PC. I like this program on a PC because of the way it really is easy to use. The palm rejection's okay. You know, there's been some issues with PCs and their palm rejection, especially, gosh, I can't even use touch on my HP. That's how bad it is. And I'm sure it has to do something with the HP shell and Windows Ink and Wacom, because Wacom and Windows Ink don't play well together. So now I'm going to basically come up here to the transform tool. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to transform this down slightly because I want to have a little more opportunity to work on the hair. Okay, so you notice I'm using my quick keys over here. So I've pre-programmed the quick keys. Basically, that's my space bar, and I can zoom in and out. I can come up here. I can pre-program different, you know, configurations. This is the saved. They're the save. Here's the eyedropper. So I've programmed that for the eyedropper. I can also use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. And if I press this little center button over here twice, it makes this larger or smaller. So basically, I usually keep it on that because I can zoom in and out with this, if that makes sense to you guys. All right, so it comes with a plethora. Whoops, that's a little bit too far. It comes with a myriad / plethora of brushes that you can download. And what's really cool is all of them, pretty much all of them, are free from Alias. Now, I've purchased a few of you, as you see, and what's his name? Gosh, I can't remember his name. I know his last name, Kanuga. He's a concept and game developing artist, and he does some really great stuff on Sketchbook Pro. And he's done quite a few tutorials, and I highly recommend you look him up. Last name Kanuga. Trent Kanuga. There we go. I think that's how you pronounce his last time. My apologies if I screw that last name up. Oops. And I'm utilizing just the standard brush right here. It doesn't have any texture on it, because this is kind of the brush that I use a lot of times for putting value in. And we could do this. I'm talking to you guys and I'm not getting anything done. Okay. Okay, here. Got his little chin that comes out. Get this whole mask that comes around, because I want this mask to, I mean, he's kind of on the portly side, right? And then I've got his neck fat rolls that come around like this. Okay, so now I'm gonna do his eyes. Okay, here, got that cheekbone that comes around like this, so that ear's wrong. No big deal. You know, I definitely, as I work through these drawings, you know, I always make sure and make little adjustments here and there that benefit the, you know, the drawing. So I want him to have some kind of a eyeball right there. Let's bring this eye around here. There is a design flaw in the surface, but it doesn't really have anything to do with if you guys are looking to purchase a Surface device. I know that they're going to be releasing the new Surfaces here very soon, and hopefully they've corrected a lot of the issues on the new Surface device. One of the biggest issues has to do with wobble, and I'm going to show you exactly what that wobble is. Oh, it's interesting. I must have done that. So whenever I draw vertically, there is no wobble. You see, I'm drawing slowly. There is no smoother on here. Whenever I draw horizontally, there is no wobble. Okay, I can draw a straight line, which is really nice. The problem comes in is whenever you draw diagonally. Now, if you look, you can see it's wobbling. My pen is completely still, and it's wobbling. Now, if I go quickly, it doesn't happen. See this? It doesn't happen. But whenever I go smooth like this, now if I go in and I put, oh, it does have a line smoother on it. So if I go down to 0, you'll really see it. Yeah, look at this. Look how terrible that is. I don't typically draw with line smoothers. I don't know why that's on by default. That's weird. And then, of course, if you draw vertically, it's completely straight. If you draw horizontally, it's Okay, there we go. Completely straight. We're going to go slow. Okay. So you guys get a better understanding of exactly what that wobble is. Now, I personally don't have a huge issue with the wobble. Because I draw so chaotic and fast, it doesn't really affect me. But those of you who are drawing in like Illustrator or one of those programs, it will definitely affect you. They've improved it quite a bit, and this is the new Surface pen. This isn't the old iteration of the pen, because I know in the older iteration it was quite prevalent, and it was, you know, not very good. So let's do this. Get some eyelashes. Circle, people and iris. Okay, little circle right here. Color that in, right? So we've got that one right here. And notice how I'm not going in and really just, you know, doing part of it. I'm using some illustrative tools that I've used throughout the years to kind of help me form the face, right? That, whoops, there's some of that palm rejection issue. That help me along the way, right? You know, we talked about the under, over, and under to help you with the eyeballs, right? And then we talked about that outer cheek coming up and forming. You just continue this line up here, but also around. And this line comes up and around and here, and it helps you form that outer eye. And then you have the inner eye right here, right? The distance typically is one of these, so I typically will put it here. You got these baggage. And the eyeball, the eye socket's quite large, right? We all know that. And the eyeball is quite large, sitting inside its home. Okay, so I'm going to fix the hair up here because I'm not really gelling with the hair. I want that hairline to come up. There's the top of the head, and I'm going to draw the top of the head around. Even though I can't see it, it's hidden by the hair. It helps me understand where that hairline is quite a bit. Okay. Maybe he's got a little bit come around here. And again, I'm thinking three-dimensionally, and I'm not thinking of individual hairs. I'm thinking in terms of the shape. So the shape comes out, then the shape comes around. It's a nice big bulbous shape, right? And I've got this other shape that comes around. It's got form. And that's kind of where I'm thinking. Okay. Another thing that I don't like about the Surface, and that's why I have this little grippy on here, is the fact that my hand will go to sleep. I think I'm probably gripping it too tight, and that's a preference that you'll have to change in terms of how you grip the pen. So I'm gonna have this come around. That has this fat roll right here, come around, and here's the edge of his chin. I'm gonna try my hardest not to get my head in the frame. Okay, so now I'm feeling pretty good about this one. I'm going to go in and I'm going to ink it a little bit and let you guys watch kind of the inking process that I utilize whenever I do digital work. What I'm going to do as well, here we're going to come around, and this comes around like this, is I'm gonna change the size of my brush here, and I'm going to put some value in. What's really great about using digital tools, so the way that Sketchbook Pro works, if you don't understand, first of all, it's free. Go to alias.com, download Sketchbook Pro. It is completely free. They're not a sponsor, but I want you guys to have the best tools available, and this is a great tool, and it's completely free. Why wouldn't you download it? So I'm using my peripheral here to increase the size of my brush, so I can put a little bit of value in here and there, right? Here we go. Decrease in size here. Now, for those of you who poo-poo Microsoft products in comparison with the iPad, I get it. I understand. I actually own an iPad Pro 12.9. I've owned many iPads in my lifetime. Only until recently, in the past few years, have you been able to draw on them very well. Previous to that, you had to use these really weird, convoluted, rubber-tipped devices that sucked. And at the time, I think it was 2013, 2012, somewhere around there, Microsoft came out with the Surface Pro line, and you could draw on it. It was a full PC and had pressure sensitivity. I think it was 256 back in those days, and it had Wacom technology. Nowadays, they've got Intrig, and that's where kind of the caveat comes. You have to understand that Intrig is not Wacom, and I never understood. Maybe it was licensing. The licensing issue pertaining to, you know, Microsoft infringing on Wacom. Maybe they had a year to do it, to develop, and then they bought Intrig. Either way, Intrig is not Wacom. It doesn't have the same dynamic. It doesn't have the same response. It doesn't have a lot of those same things. It's different. It's good, but you need to realize that whenever you buy one of these products, that you're not buying a Wacom sensitive, you know, pressure sensitive tablet. And there's going to be some concessions you're going to have to make. Does it feel really good? Yeah, they put this little rubber tip on here, and it's got good pressure sensitivity. You know, I think this particular pen is up at maybe, I don't know, 4,000, 2,000, somewhere around there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of value here and there. Just having some fun, playing around with it. I've got these really great brushes too over here, skin brushes. We're not going to get into these until just a few minutes from now. But you can put in nice, you know, if you want to, you know, some skin items. Those kind of look like he had, you know, some type of skin disease. But, you know, whenever you render, I mean, these are really nice right here. So you can put some pores in here and whatnot. So I'm going to, excuse me. So this program works very similar to Photoshop in terms of layers, but it's like a stripped down. You don't have all these photo tools over here. So I'm going to add a layer. What's really cool too is it's got layer transparency effects that you can utilize. We're going to go ahead and jux this down quite a bit. Here we go. Move it down. I like hiding this because I don't want my hand hitting it. Excuse me. Yep. There's that nasty throat clearing. My apologies for that. Okay, so here's a bigger brush right here. And notice it's got some really nice texture to it. Just like a pencil, right? And I've set the brush up, customized it a little bit to where it... and this is one of the brushes you can download, and it feels very similar to a pencil. What's really cool too about the Surface line is it's got the eraser on the back end. So if I like make a mistake, I can pre-program my quick keys to have an eraser tool, or I can just flip it around and I can erase it, or it's got the Control Z, which is really nice. So I typically use this one, the green little paintbrush, as my inking tool. And here's kind of the same tool, but it's more of a flat, and this is broad. So I've got 3 variations of the same brush, okay? So I like going in and just start, I like going in and just start having fun. Now on the pucks, this is what I was gonna explain. Here's the tone and value pucks, so I can select what color I want. Currently we're on black, so I can go up to, you know, cyan or one of those colors. And then here's, and 2, whenever you press down and slide right or left, I can adjust the saturation of that particular color, hue or tone. And then I come up here or down here and I can do the same thing, but now I'm adjusting the size of the brush, but I'm doing that with my peripheral over here. And then I can go value, opacity, and how, value. And how intense the color is. So I like to keep that, whenever I'm inking, I like to keep that at 100% typically, especially if I'm using black. So it's got a nice rich black tone. So we're going to come here and I'm going to start inking it a little bit. Here, nice broad. Right. Okay, and I always zoom back out. And it's really nice because I'm not having to deal with a keyboard. That's also one of the faults, I believe, of the this Surface line. The keyboard has to be attached to work. And that really sucks, man. You know, it has to be attached. And if I want to have my quick keys it's kind of hard to draw and then have your quick keys down here. The HP ZBook, that was one of the main reasons why I chose the HP ZBook over the Surface Pro 2, because I was going to buy a Surface, not Pro 2, I was going to buy a Surface Book 2. And I started doing the research, and the ZBook, you can detach, and I was able to max out the RAM on the ZBook at 32 gigs as opposed to 16 gigabytes for the Surface Book 2. And 2, Surface Book 2 and 2, the processor that I was going to get in the Surface Book was going to be very powerful, but again, when I had only 16 gigabytes of RAM, I felt that it was better to get the faster RAM, the more plentiful RAM, because you can't upgrade the Surface line because everything's sealed, right? I think you can on the whatchamacallit. Now, here's a really cool feature for you guys. I think you can on the ZBook. That's what I was trying to say. I'm sorry. So here's a really cool feature. Creating ellipses and perfect circles and stuff like that. Now, there is a tool up here. So I can go ahead and do that. There is a tool up here. I think it's this one right here. Predictive Stroke, that basically helps you with circles. But this is really good if I'm just going to go ahead and draw that in. And then I come and I can move this over to here. I can shrink it down slightly. And there's the other eye. Whoops, that's too big. Now, I can already hear some of you guys say that the digital process takes longer. It kind of does, because what I'm doing is I'm doing a lot of experimentation with my looks. And, what I want to do and how I want to render it, and, all of these things that really are part of my process whenever I do digital work. It does take time. These initial sketches do take time. Oops. So it's just one of those deals where you just kind of have to, you're going to gain that amount of, in case you have, if you're doing it for fun, that's one thing. But if you're doing it for a client or somebody that's hired you to do it, there's a very high probability that there's going to be changes. So you to do it traditionally is going to be, I don't know, it's going to be counterproductive on the other side, because you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to, redo stuff, or you're going to have to scan it and you're going to have to change things, on the scan. And this, I can just go back into the digital file and I can modify, I can modify the file, color-wise, and we're going to have that around here. Put that cheekbone right there. We're going to have that cheekbone, it's kind of lower. So we're going to have that come around here. You have that right here. He's kind of grinning a little bit. Okay, got here. Okay, so I'm going to start messing around with the hair. Again, I've really defined how I want the hair to look, right? And I've got the top part of his forehead come around, some wrinkles in there. Here, here. Whoops. See, now that's a very good example. I just made a mistake, and all I did was just control, just control Z it. Instead of having to erase. So it is faster in a sense. There is a disconnect. I do wish I had the, that feel of paper. There are paper, so you can also rotate, which is really nice. There are paper-like films you can put over, the Surface device and the iPad, which is really good. And I do like those, and I've used them before. I'm just really rough on my machines. And, you know, at some point in time, I didn't like the way it felt. So I was like, I don't like this. So I ended up taking it off. Of course, that's $30 down the drain. See you, $30. And then now I kind of regret that because, you know, I'd like to see, oops, there's a false positive right there from the palm rejection. So we're going to come around here. Whoops. Oops, see, that's what I'm talking about right there. Okay, so we're going to come back. We're going to place probably 11. I think I keep it on 11. So we're going to come back, and it's smooth now. That line's smoother. I'm not a huge fan of line smoothers because obviously it I don't want to call it cheating. It's not really cheating because you're utilizing the tool that it, you know, the way that it was designed. Now, if it sat there and drew the line for you, you know, and all that, then that would be a different story. But it's not drawing the line for you. So we'll color this in really quick. Okay. And in a second, I'm going to come back. I'm going to put more tone in, but I'm going to have a different brush. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And I'm just going in and I'm putting some discrepancies in the skin, you know, some folds here and there. Maybe this line here is a little bit darker. I've got some wrinkles that come up, you know. This is the i5 processor with 8 gigs of RAM. So it's the Surface Book, not the Surface Book 2, because I couldn't afford the Surface Book 2 whenever I bought this one. It was just too expensive. I mean, they wanted, you know, $1,500 for it. Used, they wanted $1,500 used. And I'm like, I can't afford that. Not at this point in time. So I just decided to go ahead and get this one instead. And it's worked out pretty good. I enjoy it. I don't know if this is going to work out. Okay. Have this like this. Here. 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 And we got a little straggler over here. Comes out like that. So now I'm going to bring this here. And remember here, it goes up, down. Here's the center. Actually, the center is way back here. So we're going to have this come around because his mouth is curved like this. So I'm going to have this come up, right? I'm going to have this come down. And since this is going up, this mustache is going to come down slightly. It's going to overlap that front lip, that top lip. Okay. Here. Here, here. Maybe there's a scraggler over here. And I could bring it all the way up, which I might. There we go. Yeah, I want that all the way up. Okay. This goes up. Here, here. I'm going to make it bigger here in a second, just for the sake of going a little bit quicker this morning. Typically, I would sit down and render the hairs a little bit better. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay. And it's going to act like a pencil. Now this does have tilt in certain applications. I'm going to make this darker. Get rid of that inner line slightly. This does have tilt in certain applications. I'm not sure this is one of them. Let's try. No. Again, you know, tilt was something that I wanted. I don't really use it a whole heck of a lot. I did an additional review of the ZBook, and I've noticed quite a few things recently that I don't like. First of all, it's painfully slow in Photoshop. It's not just slow, and it's not both versions of Photoshop. I typically will use the older version of Photoshop because they've created such a bloated piece of crap in the new version of Photoshop that it's almost, in my opinion, as a professional, it's almost unusable. I've tried multiple times to set up Photoshop with the different configurations in the performance section. I have, you know, it using the the video card. I have the 32 gigs of RAM, and it just is terrible. So whenever I went back to my other version of Photoshop, it ran beautiful. So obviously it's the program. And two, I made a video, which I didn't post, I'm sorry about that, guys, of how Photoshop steals system resources to the point where you can actually see it happening. So it's very frustrating to watch, Photoshop steal the resources and slow your computer down so bad. It's so bad, guys. Oh my gosh. And that's especially if you disconnect the internet. If you disconnect the internet, Photoshop freaks out. They're like, oh, your license, you need to check your license, bro. You check your license, man. We're the internet police. Will you check your license? You could be having software. I just don't know why it doesn't check it once. It checks it multiple times. And if you disconnect the internet, then it freaks out and it stops. And it doesn't do it on a Mac, or it does it in the background to where you can't notice it. When did we all suddenly, as far as, it probably is. It's probably stated in the fine print that Photoshop will not work without an internet connection. It didn't used to be like that. You'd buy the software and then you'd call it a day, and that would be it. Okay, so I'm going to make the brush quite large. Actually, I'm going to transfer over to the broad. Actually, maybe that one's going to be a little bit better. Yeah, that one's good. A little bit more chaotic. Yeah, that was nice. Here we go. Color in that eyebrow. Put some value in there. Right. And then I could basically go in and start messing around with the hair. Farting around with the hair, putting in some value here and there. I do have hair brushes that actually work pretty well. I'm going to go back in. So we're going to come here. I'm going to start putting in some of these textures, right? Some of these textures that are really cool from this texture brush. Let me make it a little bit bigger here. So maybe he's got something going on here. He's got all these pores here. Come around here. I'll get my big fat head out of the way. My apologies. Okay. Get a little bit here. A little bit here. Okay. That's not too bad. Okay. So now, what do I want to do? No. I'll go back to this brush right here, and I'll do the value down to opacity down to about 16%. I'll make it quite large. And I'll just start blocking in some of these values. I don't typically work on a white background, but I wanted you guys to see, because I know a lot of people do work on a white background, what is possible as we venture forth here into the world of illustration. So I want this, maybe it's light sources towards you up a little bit right here. So we're going to have, some shadowing happening, here, some shadow happen right here. Right, he's got a, whoops. There's a nice shadow right here under his upper lip. This is probably one of the darkest areas. It comes around, and that butt chin, not butt chin, I call it a boob chin. Is that a boob chin? I don't know. It's just a chin for me. I don't have any specific names. Okay, here, and we have a cast shadow right here, coming around. And that's kind of the lightest part right there, because here's the eye shine right here. Eye shine should probably be down here, to be honest with you. The way that I've got it, I think the eye shine's wrong. I'm not gonna. Okay, this is wrong, so it needs to come around like this. Here, that's darker right there. We have a dark right here. I could literally do this for the next 2 hours and just keep messing with the values, keep screwing around with things, keep, you know, messing and tweaking and doing all that other stuff. Okay, so we're gonna go to the brushes here because there's a myriad of brushes I want you guys to see. These are the brushes right where are they at? Okay, see, these are Trent's brushes. He's put together quite a few brush packs, which are really cool. That's a smudge brush, I'm sorry. You know, it's a really nice cloud brush. He calls it salt and pepper. I utilize this brush right here quite a bit. This is grassy, because if I want to put, you know, block in a bunch of grass in the background, it's really cool, and it's pressure sensitive, which is really nice. He's got some nice pencils. I'm not a huge fan of his pencils, you know, meh. They're okay. But I do like, you know, like he's got a chain, which is really cool brush. But he's got a great selection of brushes. I highly recommend you checking him out, especially because they're inexpensive. I mean, you can get whole brush packs for like $10, and it includes a ton of brushes. So I highly recommend you guys doing that, especially for this program. But first, download all the free brushes. There's tons of stuff in here. You know, you can get really nice shaders. You know, I use these for animal textures, and this is a really nice one, Splotch. I like Splotch a lot. You know, it's just a really great, robust program. Now, you can go to Copic. It's got Copic. What's really cool, too, about this program is it's got a Copic library that emulates all the colors, the Copic colors, which is really cool. So I think what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to work on this for another 10 minutes. I'm going to put you guys on time lapse, and we'll do a wrap up at the end. Okay? All right. See you on the other side, guys. Okay, that's pretty much all I'm going to be doing today. Yeah, this warm-up's a little bit longer than I would like, but at the end of the day, if you guys are getting something, that's really all that I care about. So, of course, the program that I'm using today is, as mentioned, is called Sketchbook Pro. It is a free program. All you got to do is just sign up, I believe. Make sure that I'm not messing things up. Yeah, that's a color. Blue. Haha. Okay, yeah, so it's a free program. You guys can basically sign up at alias.com, Alias Wavefront. Download the program. You can get it for your iPad, which I'm not a huge fan of this particular program on the iPad. It doesn't work very well, in my opinion. Not the same as it does on the PC. If you want a really great program on the iPad, Procreate. Just go to Procreate. Never use anything else. Maybe Clip Studio Paint occasionally if you want to, you know, get a little bit frisky. This program is really good on a PC. I use it on my Surface devices. It's just really intuitive. It's really good. And of course, this is my dongle. The dongle plugs into the side. It's a Bluetooth capable. It's made by XP Pen, and you can do quick keys and program your quick keys as well as your scroll wheel to do a myriad of functions. I mean, I can, just by pressing a couple buttons, program. This one's about $35. The Surface Book first generation, I think I picked this one up for about $500. And it's great, full PC. Of course, whenever you buy a PC, you have to realize you're buying all the crap that goes with owning a PC. All the updates, viruses, just weird interface concerning Windows 10. But I've grown to love it. So what else? Yeah, like I said, just download the program, play with it for a while. It's a great sketch program. It's got really great brushes. I didn't even use one of my favorite brushes. Actually, I'm using it right now. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, this is one of my favorite brushes right here, the sketch tool. It's got a really nice, look at that. Just a beautiful, if I can get in there. Get me in! It's got a really, look at that. How it just so beautiful, real light. But the computer that I have right here isn't super fast. It's an i5, 8 gigs of RAM. It doesn't have a video card. It's a shared video card. I think it's 2 gigs of shared RAM. I'm not here to do a review, but just so you guys know what I'm utilizing. Anyway, thank you guys for visiting. Please like and subscribe if you like what you see. And of course, as always, I'm going to be doing videos all this week, posting every single day. This was a little bit different. Let me know if you guys like the digital stuff. I might throw some color on this guy, on this guy. There we go. That line kind of disappeared after I messed up. So let me know what you guys like. See, I had some people request certain characters from Iron Man to some of that other stuff. I don't really take requests. I just want, to give you guys some tools. If it's a request, then I like getting paid for specifics. Maybe I'll do some Marvel stuff, but either way, I'm just here to bequeath some knowledge to you guys. And on the other side, hopefully you come out with something more than what you came here with. So thank you guys. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.